DylanSchuyler here with a recipe. I'm making some French toast. I've been making this for myself this whole past month. I also wanted to slightly apologize. I haven't been posting a lot recently. Just kind of March is hard for me because it's my mom's and my birthday, and we used to celebrate kind of like we were twins. So I just wanted to apologize about that. But yeah, I'm gonna make some French toast, and I'm also gonna make some tea. Today's flavor of tea is it's a black tea by Lewis Carroll. I kind of call it my queen tea. It's loose leaf, so I have a little thing that I'm gonna put the loose leaf into. Right now, the ticking, if you guys can hear that, is some of the bread that's kind of toasting in my toaster oven. So there's that. And so my French toast recipe is relatively simple. I do put cinnamon and clove into it, and then it's 2 eggs. So starting off, I'm gonna do the eggs because I've had these eggs for a while and I don't know if they're still good. So I'm just gonna test them. They were ones that I just got from a farm or something, so they should be okay. It's just if the egg is stuck to the inside or not. So that one was good. And I like to keep the eggshells because I have plants and stuff, so I like to keep the eggshells so I can put it into the pots and give them calcium. So first egg is good. Let's hope the second egg is good. I haven't been turning these eggs, so I don't know how sticky to the shell they will be. This one's pretty sticky. But since they're farm eggs, they can last for a pretty good chunk of time, especially if you keep them cold. Ones from the store usually don't tend to be that kind of easy in a sense. Excuse me, I need to grab my whisk. There are the 2 eggs, we're done with the eggs. And then I put 2/3 cup of milk into it. You can use coconut milk, you can use almond milk. I usually just use my cow milk because that's what I got on hand. If I had goat milk, I would also be using that as well. But right now I have cow milk, so I'm trying to use that before I use my coconut milk. Alright, there's that. I have 2 slices of bread right here. They are very dry, so that's why they don't need to be toasted. They're yeah, you can hear that. And then you do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Sometimes if I'm feeling extra on the day that I'm making it, sometimes I'll do a full tablespoon. But today I'm just feeling just normal. And then, hi honey. Alright, and then my cinnamon. So I usually just do whatever comes out of it. It usually comes out in a lot. And then I also put clove into it. Wherever my clove is, there it is. And that's that. And I also put some butter into it. I just like to mix this first before, because sometimes the eggs don't break up as easily because they are a bit older, but they're still good. So farm eggs can usually last a good chunk of time. My bread is done toasting. Good, mix all that cinnamon in. Just gonna do a full tablespoon scoop of butter, which I am running low on butter. In this container, at least. I have more in my fridge, so if I need to crack that guy out, I got enough. What I got in my fridge, like, actually a stick, not like the Smart Balance kind of stuff. So that's not quite as much as I would do normally for butter. So I'm gonna need a bit more. Alright. I'll probably just do coconut oil right now just because I don't feel like opening a whole stick of butter. I do replace butter regularly with coconut oil. You usually don't really notice too much of a difference unless you're really used to having like a lot of a buttery flavor. So I'm just gonna do like 3 scoops of this, so that way any of the butter flavor is kind of gone. But I love the flavor of coconut, so even if I get like a slight flavor of coconut, then I don't mind. But you won't get a flavor of coconut, so if you're not somebody who likes the flavor of coconut, you do not usually have to worry about that with coconut oil. Okay. I'll just mix this in. And then usually it kind of, since it's not hot, you'll get like floating chunks of butter in it. Which is great because once you put it onto there and it starts cooking, you can just wait till like the butter melts on one side of it while the other side cooks, the side that you can see basically. And then from there, you can judge if the other side is done or not. So once it's all mixed together, it kind of looks like that. It's like foamy, you got a little bit of butter, lots of cinnamon. Not foamy. It's not foamy, it's just bubbly because I was stirring it. Alright, I haven't used this type of bread before for this, so this will be interesting in that sense. Get my stove on. There we go. This is a pretty good size. Actually, I might need a bigger pan because this is a big piece of bread. Let me get a bigger pan. Is this big enough? Yeah, that's big enough. And then to start off, since the pan is dry, I mean, you don't need to do this if your pan is non-stick, which the one I have on the stove is non-stick, but I still like to just kind of coconut oil it, just so there's like a coating on there at least, protecting my pan. I am sometimes pretty good at burning my pans. It's a process, but the food always comes out good, so that's nice. Yes, I just use my hands for this part. So you want to be kind of quick with this, otherwise your bread's going to just start disintegrating on you and like falling apart, and then you can't really flip it easily, unfortunately. Normally I do 5 slices, but with how big these slices are, I'm probably only going to be able to get 3 out of this. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Plus the toasty ones will probably be a little bit hard to like form into there. So I think I might save that piece for last because they're easier to like manipulate and form to what you want it to be. I'm just grabbing a plate real quick for once that's done. Have a place to put it. I'll put my plate like right here in front of you guys. I don't think you can see that, but too many spatula options. So if your bread is kind of bulging up in one spot or another, try to like push it down, otherwise you're not going to get like it fully cooked in that one spot. But yeah, since this is like the first piece, this piece is going to take the longest. Plus it's also a different type of bread that I'm not used to using. I had bread that was specifically for French toast. I ate all that. And then I had another loaf of like Dave's bread or something, and I used that. I made some when my grandma was visiting for my mom's birthday, and then I just finished off the loaf. And I usually use the end pieces when I do too, when I finish the loaf off, and it was fine, it was good. But I finished off that loaf, and now we're on to this one. And I have one more loaf, but I wanted to start with this one because I've had this one for a while, and it's also getting like really dry, and I don't want moldy bread, you know? I like to eat my food before other organisms get to it, kind of thing. I love the sound that it makes when it's cooking too. Just that little soft sizzle. Alright, it's looking like it's probably getting close to being good for a flip. I'll probably flip this back over one more time just because I like to have it a little bit more deeper in a color, but I wanted to get the other side getting ready and cooking. But it smells normal. It smells good. So, it's just really big loaf of bread. Plus, I don't know, whenever I see a loaf of bread and it's more like not your average shape of a loaf, I'm like, ah, that's the more natural. That's not the processed one that's made in a factory as much. I don't know, my brain just is like, weird shaped bread, that's natural, that's good. So. But, I don't know. I like Dave's bread too. Dave's bread is really good. This specific bread that I'm using right now is whatever that says. Fantini Bakery Homestyle Round. I only got like 3 pieces left in here after the pieces that I possibly will be using today. I don't know if I'll be using 5 because these pieces are very large. But I'll leave that one out. I'm gonna try to use those 3 because I toaster oven 3. I don't know if I'll have enough for all 3, but if I do, that would be good. If it was Dave's bread, you probably would need like 8 slices. If you have bread that's specifically for French toast, you would literally only need 5 because those pieces are usually pretty thick. This one I'm testing out to see how many I'll need. Honestly, I think I'm only gonna need like 4. So, kind of the range of like 4 slices to like maybe 8 is your range for being able to get pieces out of this. Obviously, it depends on thickness and all that kind of stuff of your bread. Alright, this piece is looking pretty good. So that's about how I like it. Nice and steamy, tasty. And then the other side looks a lot more appealing. It's really... it's good, it's yummy. I'm just looking at it, I'm like, dang, I just want to like dive right into that and eat it already. Alright, I'm grabbing the next piece. I'm going with this one, which it's pretty crunchy. It's a well-toasted piece, so it's going to be kind of hard to get it wet in some spots. There we go. And I broke it. Figured that's the challenge with toasting it. Sometimes that happens. So we're just gonna have little pieces of this. And fully get the other side either. So now this is going to cook way faster because they're smaller. So that's like the only challenge with toasting your bread that I can really think of. I mean, it absorbs the mix a lot easier. So it's less likely to kind of become soggy and break, but it being too crispy and breaking is also the other risk as well. Yeah, this thing's like falling apart left and right. That's okay. I'm gonna eat it still anyways. It's not like it's bad or anything. It's just falling apart. And sometimes the best food falls apart. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like the messiest burger that you eat. It's usually always the best. It makes the biggest mess, but it's still fucking good usually. Alright, the two smaller pieces are pretty close to being done. The bigger piece will need a bit longer. The recipe I originally got this kind of from would say like to cook each side like for 3 minutes. And I'm just like, no, I'd rather eyeball it. I'm not gonna fully subject it to a certain amount of time per each side. So that's fully up to you guys if you want to like specifically just cook it for 3 minutes on each side. For me, I probably would need a timer that would sit there and tell me. I keep flipping this piece and I shouldn't be. But usually I try to just eyeball it and stuff, so it's more actually the way I want it. It's pretty crunchy, so they might end up breaking as well. It's okay. I'm not upset about it. Okay, 2 smaller pieces. Alright, it's pretty well done. Get these off. Beep. Okay, alright. Tempted to pre-break it. Actually, this piece is small enough it fits well into this bowl, so I have a bigger bowl than this, but that one's dirty right now because of last week's that I made. Get into the middle. That is being tough. Okay. So if your bread can't reach, you can just take like one of your measuring spoons and just like scoop it. But you gotta kind of be quick because again, your bread's gonna become moist and break apart easily. So that's like the only thing you gotta be a little bit more mindful about if you do use your measuring spoon for getting it. And do not leave your bread in the bowl to be ready to put onto your pan, because yeah, you'll pick it up and it'll basically just completely fall apart. I tried using like tongs to pull it out. I've tried using a spatula to pull it out and it just doesn't work. So that's why I'm just like, I'll put it in and then I'll put it straight onto the pan. And it doesn't make the flavor any less or less noticeable or anything like that. It's just you're putting it in there for less time so it's not soggy and falling apart. So that's just my recommendation. To each their own. If you guys choose to do a bit different, this is just how I do it. I have my little mini chefs around me right now. I have all 3 of my animals right here. They're just like, yo, what you doing? I'm just like, hi. They're all like, can I have food too? What you doing, Raven? What you doing, buddy? Hi. You're so cute. That looks pretty good to flip. Last week, I don't know what the heck I was doing wrong, but like every single piece that I made basically came out burnt, which made it really bad for the next day after I eat it, because I usually eat half of the French toast the first day of my weekend, and then I eat the other half, like, toasting it in my toaster oven, like, to warm it back up, because I like to have warm French toast. And yeah, I basically burnt every single piece I had, and I'm sitting there like, ugh, this is so annoying, because then it's gonna be like basically chewing on a brick the next day. So if you're planning to have this more than one day of the weekend, I would highly recommend like having it not be kind of on the more burnt side. Try to undercook it, maybe almost even. Well, maybe not undercook it, but at least don't like try to get it to be burnt. Like this side looks pretty good. That one right there, that looks good. The other side needs a little bit more. Like this piece right here, it's kind of a little bit closer to being on the burnt side, but still, it's still soft, so it'll be fine to put into the toaster oven. But the first piece I made, this piece, like back here, that one will be good for like the next day, and since that was the first piece, that usually is going to be for the next day anyways. Yeah, so this is probably about the extent I would say cooking it for, if you're gonna plan to have it for any more days afterwards. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty much down to it at this point. So it seems if you like have bread that's this big, you're probably gonna end up like using it only on 4 pieces. Because I'm just gonna put this on and then like pour the rest onto the side. I like to just get like the bigger chunks of the butter or coconut oil into there, just because like it's helpful and it tastes good, so I don't really feel like leaving butter behind. Now for if you do get something like this on the edge here, I don't know if you can see it, but like something like that, just use your spatula. Don't let it sit for too long, because it's basically, now you got egg in that. It's basically going to be acting like it's an omelet, so you don't really want to leave that on there for too long. So like kind of pick it up and then flip it over onto the side that hasn't been cooked really yet, because that's gonna get burnt really easily. So try not to leave that there for too long. Like even with that small amount of time that you guys just saw it on there for, it's already like pretty well cooked. It's already browned, so. And so if you're making this is basically all you need for like cooking utensils. You just need a whisk, You need a teaspoon, you need 1/3 of a cup, and then you just need a tablespoon. And then some sort of bowl I would highly recommend that has like a flat bottom. The flatter the better. If you don't have something like that, just use like a baking tray or something. Or like a brownie tray or something like that. Or you could even possibly use like your bread tins as well, which I mean like these. You could use that. Usually bread should be able to fit into that, depending on your bread type. Like if it was this bread, probably not, but again, try to look for something with a flat bottom. The flat bottom will make it so the crunchier your bread gets, the easier it is for it to still be able to get all of the ingredients and mix into it. So this is pretty much how all my pieces were coming out last week. I don't know why they were all coming out like that, but that's pretty much how they came out. But this piece I'm going to eat today, so I'm not too worried about it. This piece and the previous piece you see me make. I usually eat the last 2 pieces that I make that day. So I got 4 pieces left. This recipe calls for 4 slices of bread, it seems, so I got 4 pieces left. 2 obviously are ends, but I like eating ends, so it doesn't bother me. Where's my bag tie? There it is. So now I got everything put away, and that means that this is probably done. Yeah, it's pretty close to being done. Alright, so cooked side, not as cooked side, but has a lot in it. So this is the end of it. Could probably put this like here or something so then you guys can see all the slices. So yeah, that's French toast, and I'm just gonna boil my tea now, and then that'll be like my meal. Turn my stove off, go put this in the sink. And actually I could have just left that on since I'm putting my kettle there. But yeah, this tea is really tasty, I think, actually. I like black tea. Black tea is my favorite tea. So, and you can see like little dried flower in there, which is, it smells floral. So if you guys like floral flavors, this one definitely is up that alley. I'm not usually into floral flavors, but since it's a black tea, I think that's my exception. But if it was a green tea and it was floral, or like a white tea or a gray tea and it was floral, I probably wouldn't like it. I do like gray teas though. Gray and black are probably my top 2. Green can be like here and there, but not consistent. So yeah, and I'm just gonna have my tea, and then we're gonna go have breakfast. And my syrup that I use is this one. I don't have a lot left, but this is my syrup I like. Runamont it's maple syrup, Vermont organic, cinnamon vanilla infused. I really like it. It's really good. It pairs well with all the flavors that I have in there. So like the clove, and obviously the vanilla goes good with the vanilla. And obviously I have cinnamon in there, so literally complements each other and is just enhancing the already in there flavors. And this first piece that I'm going to be having here, that's definitely going to be the most packed with flavor. This one will probably be the first one I made. So this one's going to be the most packed with flavor. This one will probably be like a good runner-up, and then this one, and then that one. But these two will probably be about the same. The first and the last usually tend to be like the strongest in the flavor. Especially when you're like pouring the rest of whatever you have in your bowl onto your last piece, that's definitely going to make it the strongest. But if you got like not enough left for really your last piece, which I usually, if I have enough for like 2 pieces but I'm on my last piece, I usually tend to not make 2 pieces, because when you get to the last piece you don't usually have enough for the flavor to be in that last piece. So I'm just like, let me just jam pack the last piece with flavor versus like not have enough flavor for the last piece instead. So that's my thought process on that, at least. Alright. Just gotta pour this guy in. Alright. Get some syrup on here, as it's fucking closed. Okay. Try to leave enough for tomorrow. Alright, let's get into this super flavor packed one. This bread's really good with it. So, highly recommend. Prost. Bye, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my video about making some French toast. And I hope you guys have a chance to try it. Thank you. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Give me a subscribe if you want to see more food videos.